Hey there, Freedom Finders. So, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the way that my cleaning company finds cleaners. And I think once I show this to you, you're going to be like, oh, I wish I would have thought of that earlier. Or maybe you're already doing it, and that's awesome. But what I have found over the past 18 years is that finding the cleaners is really the hardest part of running this company. So, getting the clients, in my opinion, has not been a really big challenge until you start to decide what type of clients you actually want. When you can get to the point where you can be selective on who you choose. But the first thing you need to do is find cleaners. So, way back in the day, there wasn't a lot of options. Like, I had to do a lot of networking. Um, I used boards like Craigslist. I did spend money on Indeed, but I think I spent more on Facebook ads and posting on Facebook in my own page until I realized that I really started to think a little bit differently about recruiting for this company. So honestly, I hate spending thousands of dollars on Indeed because I feel like people just put their application in because they have to meet some requirement for unemployment or whatever. And I'm not saying that's true for everybody because we have found some really good people on Indeed. I just really hate to spend that kind of money when I know there's lots of other places that I can go and get this information. And in all honesty, when we so New York is where two of my companies are, and New York State is a sanctuary state, especially Rochester, New York. So I realized back in 2010, 12 that I could get tax credits for hiring refugees. Um, and so that's where I started really finding the best cleaners, primarily because they're here, they want to work because they need to make money. And, it's a lot more expensive here than it is typically in the countries that they were coming from. So hiring on people from the Ukraine or Russia or Somalia definitely worked for me. And then I started to realize some additional ways that I could find um, cleaners as well. Now, again, in my opinion, I think that hiring the cleaners, you really need to have a full-time recruiter on staff because you're going to get the clients and you can't fill that schedule unless you have the clients. So let me walk you through. I have a bunch of different documents in this lesson about $0 recruiting. But we're going to start here with where I go and post for my cleaners. So we're going to start with the Facebook ecosystem. Okay. So what do I mean by Facebook ecosystem? So before I get into the post and everything, I want to do a little bit of background on Facebook's algorithm, just as it stands today and based on my experience. Now, I've never worked for Facebook, but this is what I've learned over the years being in marketing and in the cleaning industry. So Facebook doesn't pay for posts. What they really look for is interaction. So every time you put a post on Facebook, they're looking to see how many people paid attention to that post and liked it or commented on it. And the reason they're checking on that is because they want to put ads on that post or right before or right after that post so that they can make money, right? So they're looking for the most popular things in their ecosystem. So sometimes the posts that I do are going to sound weird, but it's all driven to get people to have interaction. And the more interaction that is on that post, the more Facebook is going to show that post to more people. So if I have, say, 60,000 people in a Facebook group and only one or two people comment on my post, Facebook isn't really going to push out my post to the 60,000 people in that group because they're seeing that nobody's really interested in my post. But if you have 1,000 people comment on your post, then Facebook is going to keep pushing it because they want to be able to advertise on that post. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Um, So I'm going to show you in here. Well, let me first go through this, and then the next step we'll do is I'll show you what my posts look like and how to get people to respond. But here's my list, my go-to list. So Facebook. So I want to look in local community groups. So if I'm recruiting in Rochester or Buffalo, New York, or Colorado or Florida, I'm going to look for moms groups. I'm going to look for buy, sell, trade. I'm going to look for local entrepreneurs. I'm going to look for neighborhoods. I'm going to look for any of those types of names when I go to search for groups. Um, and then you can also post in Facebook Marketplace. So you can actually post your services in there, or you can go in there and look for cleaners who already have their jobs posted. And then, of course, your own business page. Okay, so we'll dive deeper into this when we go over the Facebook posting methodology, but we'll keep going here with where I post. Craigslist, yes, it's still gold if you write the ad the right way. So basically, you're going to go into the gigs and labor and household services, and you're going to put in there what you're looking for. Again, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this later. Moms and neighborhood platforms. So I'm talking about Nextdoor, you got Bumble for Friends, you got Facebook mom groups. Um, Also, there's tons of online directories and niche platforms. So you have Google Business Profile. You can add a title or a post that says you're hiring independent cleaners. You can go to Thumbtack, TaskRabbit, and Bark and look for cleaners in those areas and reach out to them. You can do Alignable, which is a small business social site. You can go to Reddit. Reddit has a ton of information. Any type of meetup groups, you can look for independent cleaners in there as well. Honestly, your online directory's got a ton of information. So I really like to do the Thumbtack, TaskRabbit, Bark. You got Homaglow, you got care.com. So there's so many different online directories. All right, so real world and hybrid free channels. You can go to your church community, you can go to your local colleges, you can go to adult education centers, apartment complexes, local WhatsApp groups, car magnet sticker. Again, all $0 with the exception of your time. Now, my favorite, besides Facebook group, is these national refugee resettlement organizations that I mentioned earlier. So a lot of times people don't know where to look. And when we get into this section, I'm going to show you how to do a deep dive into here and reach out to people, the employment center, and actually like verbatim what to say to them. They are always trying to put people to work. And actually, that's their job. Their job is to put the refugees to work. So you have Catholic Charities, you have Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service, you have Hebrew Immigrant Aid Society, you have World Relief. All you have to do is type in um, refugee services in my area, and it's going to give you a list of all of the different places that will help people find jobs. So there's more than one. All right, local community organizations and service centers. You have resettlement agencies, which is what I was just talking about with the Immigration Center. You have community colleges, adult ESL programs. So people who may not speak English right now are working on trying to speak English, and you could go there. And a lot of the reasons why they can't get jobs is because of their lack of the English language. But don't let that deter you from hiring them for cleaning. You can go to different culture centers, so Ukrainian, Somalia, Afghan, Burmese, Polish, Russian, all of these different cultural centers will allow you to post jobs there. Workforce development boards, city or county refugee coordinator, local faith networks, libraries, community resource desks, etc. And then, of course, digital. So you have Facebook groups, WhatsApp, Reddit, Craigslist. We talked about this earlier. In here, I do have a sample message to your refugee and immigrant agencies. So use this, take it, throw it in Chat GPT, change it up to whatever makes sense for you. But ideally, you want to put in here that you operate a home cleaning referral agency. You connect independent contractors with clients and let them know that these are 1099 jobs. They may or may not like it. You may not even have to say it to the employment agency person. Just tell them that you're looking for people, and then 99% of the time, if the person doesn't speak English, they're going to give you a translator that you can do an interview with this person and your candidate, and then you can go through the independent contractor and say, that's what this is, and try to see if they're still interested in the role that you're looking for. Sometimes they don't understand it. And you need to go through that and kind of explain it like Uber, but you can get people from it. So they can do 1099 because when they become a refugee, they get issued a social security number in the United States, which is exactly what you need. Okay, so here's some way to search. I mentioned earlier, like go ahead and go and search for, different names in your city. So Office for New Americans, Refugee Resettlement Agency in Rochester, New York, or Rochester, New York, refugee. So just Google a bunch of different ways and you will find them. A couple of other things you could do if you feel like you're not having good luck. This is if you definitely have a lot of time on your hands. But you can do some YouTube shorts, you can do some Facebook events, Pinterest boards, LinkedIn groups, things like this. Local Spanish language radio, Facebook Lives. You can do this here as well. But I can tell you that you're probably going to find the most of them from your Facebook groups and your refugee resettlement centers. And then here's some example posts that you can use. So independent cleaner partners wanted, flexible schedule, weekly pay. We're expanding and looking for experienced detail-oriented cleaners who want to work independently and earn great pay. Keep 50 to 60% of each job or whatever your commission is there. This is important, must have transportation and cleaning experience. Now, if they don't have the cleaning experience, in one of the other modules that I have here, we're going to talk about how you can train the cleaners to have experience, but and still follow the IRS guidelines. Okay. And then you can also leverage referrals through your current cleaners that you have right now, which is, we do that, right? So we're always asking, like, does anybody know anyone that wants to work? And then I say, when we get into the posting in Facebook, you can't just post once and hope, like we call it spray and pray. You can't spray and pray. You actually have to have an entire system around posting into these groups. We use a couple of tools for it because it can be very time consuming. So we use a tool called Unipro to be able to go into groups and pull them into our ecosystem. I will show that to you. It's a nice little tool to have. I think it costs me about $200 a month, and it does save you some time. Okay, so I hope this was helpful. This is how we do our $0 recruiting. Again, I think it's the most important part of your company is you need to have a full-time recruiter. If you don't have the funds to pay for somebody in the US, outsource it to South America, to the Philippines. A lot of the people in the Philippines and South America are very familiar with recruiting for cleaning companies, so you'll have really good luck there. And I would say you're probably, to get a decent person, you're going to pay anywhere at the time of this recording from $8 an hour to maybe $12 an hour for somebody in either the Philippines or South America. All right, guys.